everybody. Welcome back to Tony Adams, the Moles YouTube channel. It's my fault we haven't done a show in a couple of weeks. I've been away on the road. And now I'm back, and Tony's back, and there's a lot happening in the last 2 weeks in rugby league. Don't worry, we're not going to try to cover the last 2 weeks. We're just going to cover this week. How are you, Tony? You all right?
Yeah, doing well, Steve. I had a little trip myself up to an area around Byron Bay, which for your English viewers is one of the most beautiful parts of Australia. We're still working up there, sadly, but yeah, just nice to get away.
So you're the one building mansions up there and ruining the vibe, ruining the environment. I knew it was you. Tony, Wayne Bennett back at South Centre, a possible key recruit, not a player.
Yeah, that's right. And I don't know if he's well known over in your part of the world, but Peter O'Sullivan is regarded in Australia as the best recruitment manager in the business. He built a lot of the Melbourne Storm success. Then he was at the Roosters when they were top of the pops. And he also has done a remarkable job at the Dolphins with Wayne Bennett the last couple of years. When you think they missed probably their top 10 targets, most people, myself included, thought they'd barely win a game last year. As it was, they came pretty close to the finals. This year, they're aiming at top four, despite injuries, despite still not getting a lot of these top targets. So he's signed players, Peter O'Sullivan, and formed a very good partnership with Wayne Bennett. And now with Wayne going the Souths, I'm hearing scuttlebutt that Souths are in the hunt for O'Sullivan. I know he had coffee with Dragons coach Shane Flanagan the other day, and they're probably the favourites. But as you and I know, Steve, what Wayne wants, he usually gets.
Recruiting the recruiter. And the next item in your column is about a guy who was over here, David Nofoaluma. He didn't get on too well at Salford, as he didn't at West Tigers before that, on his way back to Oz.
Yeah, it hasn't been a happy marriage, has it? I've heard he played somewhere between 2 and 6 games for Salford, as we call them over here, and apparently missed a few training sessions. It didn't go down well, and now he's looking for a new club. And look, he's got his critics, David Nofoaluma, but he's scored 100 tries for the West Tigers, and scoring 100 tries for the Melbourne Storm, that's not too difficult. But scoring 100 tries for the West Tigers, you've got to be a pretty fair player. So he's still only 30. So in the modern game, that's pretty young, and he's looked after his body. Could be a good pickup for a club mid-season, particularly with Origin, particularly with injuries hitting clubs. So we'll watch that one with interest.
The big Kiwi winger, Ken Maulalo. I haven't heard of him in a while. What's his latest news?
Yeah, well, he was at the Tigers, and he was their top try scorer in 2022. Then he had a knee injury in 2023, barely played any footy, ended up at the Titans, didn't get a game last year, hasn't got a game this year. And we know what Desi Hasler's like too. Once you're off with Des, that's it. So he's in their top 30, but he's looking for a sea change, wants a new club. Again, he's 29. He's played a bunch of tests for the Kiwis. I think he's played a few for Samoa, and he's one of these big modern day wingers who can get you the hard yards up the middle. So look for him to be changing clubs, and I know he is looking to England. So be interesting to see if he can land a contract over there.
Plenty of reports that the PNG bid to be included in the NRL is a lay down misère. Where does that leave the Fijian bid that you've written about a few times?
Yeah, well, as of yesterday, PNG look to be a bit shaky. There's talk of a dissolution of Parliament, which would really destabilise the local economy. There's also a lot of talk about just where Australian and English players who signed with this franchise are going to be housed. At one stage, it was going to be Cairns. Now they're talking about Port Moresby, but as we know, Port Moresby is a very dangerous place. So they're talking about putting him in a locked compound. And I'm not sure how 20-year-old footballers who like to get out on a drink and feel about living in a locked compound. So there've been a few hiccups, but in the last 24 hours, as I said, the landscape's changed. And I think PNG are pretty much over the line. But as for Fiji, they're still in there punching. And I think realistically, they're aiming at being the 19th or 20th franchise whenever that comes along. And a significant development there, the Prime Minister, Sitiveni Rabuka, who's a well-known figure in the Pacific, he's taken on the role of patron of the Fiji Rugby League. And he's not new to Fijian football. As a matter of fact, he kicked off rugby league there and is a life member of the Fijian Rugby League. So he's right behind the bid. So it will be interesting, and they'll be fighting with the likes of Perth, the Central Coast, and a second Kiwi team for, as I said, those 19th and 20th spots, probably a couple of years down the track.
I know from doing my book, Two Tribes, a cheap pun there, a cheap plug there for the book, that Super League promised Fiji the first Pacific franchise in Super League way back when, and the promise hasn't actually been broken yet because there hasn't been another one. So it's I don't know. Maybe they might keep the sport might keep the promise to Fiji after all. Although I think we count PNG as, do we count it as Pacific? Oh, I don't know. Anyway, Tony, don't forget to like and subscribe, everybody. And we're back. Better than ever. Well, you'll be a judge if we're better, but we're back anyway. We'll talk to you again next week, Tony. Enjoy your weekend of footy.
Sounds good, Steve.